I'm live. I'm so excited. I'm going to give people a couple minutes to jump on before I jump into this awesome training and what I've been working on behind the scenes to share with you. And just very excited about this. This has been a long time coming. And as you jump on, tell me where you're joining me from. I would love to hear from you. And if you've ever taken any of my classes or have ever worked together, I'm going to try to make this quick. I'm not going to be very long-winded on this because I respect your time. I want to just share with you, from the heart, and just share with you what I've been working on. And so just because of the replay and because I don't want people, waiting too long for me to get started, because I know that frustrates me, I'm just going to go ahead and jump in. So I am so excited to be announcing, so we got people you're in my extension program. Yay. Okay. So now that we got people starting to jump in and starting to get engaged, I wanted to just go ahead and let you know that I am so excited to be announcing, my next series. Well, it's actually my first series. It's something that I've never offered before, and I wanted to do something that was really accessible, something that I could really help women with. So over the last couple months, and this has been actually like this has been years in the making, but over the last couple months, I've been creating a new series called my Rooted and Realigned Workshop Series, which is essentially designed to help you to come home to yourself. And I just want to ask you really quick, for those of you who are on live or if you're watching the replay, definitely let me know in the comments, because I love reading the comments. If there's ever been a time in your life where you've ever felt like you were doing all the right things, and everything was like you were checking off all the boxes by everybody else's standards, like, you had the great job, you had the great family, you had the great kids, like you had the house, but yet somehow you still kind of felt stuck, or you have felt lost, or you have known there's something else out there, or maybe there's a rock unturned, or, and I think sometimes these things can manifest in depression, anxiety, and I know that in the past it has for me. And so I've been working on something that I created to help women to stop spinning in the hustle and the mainstream and overgiving and overworking, and the women who are constantly being told, like, work harder, do more. And it's like, it's not quite possible to do more, and just feeling disconnected from their own truth and desires and careers and current reality. I mean, I have been there too. I've been there actually many times, which is why when I thought about what I wanted to create, why I created this, because when I look back on everything that I have done to get me to this point and everything that has happened to get me to this point, I wanted to, help more women on a bigger scale. So I've been coaching women. If you don't know me, my name is Amy. I've been coaching women in the health and fitness and wellness and business and mind space, business space. I was on MySpace. That's where I first actually, talked to my husband, but that's another story. But for 14 years, I've been doing this in this space. And I felt for a very long time with the previous career that I had that if women weren't aligned, or people didn't want to do what I did, that I just couldn't help them at all. So it was very frustrating for me, because I wanted to help people, but I also realized, so many amazing testimonies come in. Thank you guys. And I just felt like it got frustrating at a certain point, because I felt like if I couldn't help people do what I was doing, then I couldn't help them at all. And that really sucked, because I came into contact with thousands and thousands and thousands of women, and I just felt like there was so much more I could help them with. It just wasn't the right time for me. I didn't have the belief. It was just not, the timing wasn't there for me, and it obviously wasn't there for them either. So there's definitely different things in my life that led me to a series of life changes and shifts, and something that I could have and should have created a long time ago, But again, like, I do believe timing is everything, and the timing was just not right for me in that season of life. But luckily, the universe works in our favor, and I had, a bunch of life changes happen the last 6-7 months that has led me to this point. And so I'm excited to share what I have in store for you. So brief backstory, I moved out at 18. I've been on my own since I was 18. I left my house the second I turned 18. I went and I've been working, like, putting myself through life since forever, pretty much. I mean, I was a latchkey kid, so I was very independent and, just kind of fended for myself for a big portion of like my teenage years. And then when I moved out, I was on my own financially. I've been on my own financially with very little to no help from anybody. And so I was in the service industry. I was a waitress, a bartender, a caterer for 10 years. So shout out to my fellow service industry people. And I never have worked a traditional job. So I always bounced around from different restaurants to, I just recently started Backstreet Boys story, and I was like, one of the guys shared that he worked at Outback Steakhouse. Like, that was one of my beginnings too. So we have that in common. And I joined all different kinds of restaurants, and I did all different kinds of gigs, and I just never had a traditional 9-to-5. So then when I did start going to school and started to work towards a traditional 9-to-5, and my husband also, or who's my boyfriend at the time, was working towards a traditional 9-to-5, that was the only time in my life that I felt incredibly like misaligned. Like, I was working towards getting a paycheck eventually where I didn't have like cash in hand. I was working towards, working, all day, every day, working in a building, not being able to have a flexible schedule. My pay would go down, and I never saw him. He was working different schedule, and like, so anyway, I immediately knew that wasn't going to work for us. And so I got to work on figuring out and finding something that would work for us. And that's when I discovered building a business online. And it turns out that entrepreneurship was actually very much aligned with who I was as a person, but it wasn't taught in school. And it's also not something that, unless you have somebody expose it to you, that you really necessarily feel like you can do. And luckily, my husband's dad was an entrepreneur, and my dad was an entrepreneur in a way. And so it was instilled in us that you can go out and do your own thing, and you can pave your own way. And so we did have that modeled for us to some degree. But what we were doing and building something online wasn't something that people were doing yet. 14 years ago, Instagram didn't even exist when I started, right? And I was full time building a business online before Instagram even exists. So that was like my first leap into really like following my alignment, right? Actually moving out at 18 and going and getting a job as a waitress in the service industry and like figuring out my life. That was my first step, right? I knew that like I was not meant to go to the traditional college route, although I did put myself through college for 8 years with 0 degree, because I'm a manifesting generator and I'm not meant to go and get 1 degree and have 1 job, but I had to spend a lot of money to figure that out. And luckily that's all paid off by now. But a lot of us are carrying that around still because we were never shown different ways to do things, or shown how to align with who we really are and what we should be doing. And here's another thing too that I've learned is that not all of us are meant to do one thing forever. And I think that's another thing that is really ingrained in us in this society, that we're supposed to get like 1 job, or we're supposed to be one thing, and that is our identity. But anybody who is at least in their 40s by now, which is me, I'm 40, I have learned in the last 40 years that there's been different things that have served me in different times of my life, and I was not meant to do that forever. And it doesn't mean that it was like a negative thing or a bad thing, or or even like something that failed necessarily. It just wasn't meant for me. And when you believe in just like being guided and trusting and knowing that, where you're supposed to go next is where you're being guided, it's like you move away from this like fear mindset of like lack and like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? And more into a, why is this happening for me? Let me explore this. What is my next step? And you can start to be open to what comes into your path. And so hopefully this is finding you at a time where you're in a season of like realignment and trying to figure out what's next. A lot of my students and a lot of the people that I've worked with, what this looks like for them is like becoming an empty nester, or being in a career that they've been in forever that they are just burned out on, that they don't want to do anymore, they don't feel passionate about anymore, or even a career that they're making a lot of money, and so they have like, they're kind of got the golden handcuff situation, but they know it's just not aligning with them anymore. And so this happened to me recently, where I was in a really amazing career, the business that I had built online, but when I became a mom, it wasn't aligned anymore. And so for like 5.5 years of becoming a mom and being in this business, I could not figure out what was happening with me. I thought it was postpartum depression. I thought it was all these things. I didn't understand, like, why am I all of a sudden just like uninspired? And I started looking for answers in other people. I started looking for my belief in like, oh, well, if she can do this, then I can do this too. And I started to look outward for the validation of like, I'm doing it, I can do it, they did it, I can do it, instead of going inward. But I didn't have anybody to tell me that I could do that. And honestly, if somebody had told me, I probably wouldn't have listened, because I'm really hard-headed. So I get that too. And I get being just like completely shut off from like, being able to see what else is out there. And so one of the things that I've learned is just but remembering from before, when I first got started. That's what got me to where I could create a life by design, where my husband and I could be together 24/7, that we could, be home with our kids, that we can create the life that we want on our terms. It all started with the ability to not have a fixed mindset and a closed mindset, and to have an open mindset. But somewhere along the way, I think I lost that ability because I had tunnel vision. And honestly, I was in fight or flight, I think, for a big portion of my life, especially when I started having kids, that I started to operate from a place of like, I need to hold on. I'm safe now. Like, I need to be safe, instead of a place of, I'm already safe. I can build and I can create something from a place of, of just pure creation, and trusting in myself and trusting in what's next. So that's why I created the Root and Realign series, because I think what was missing for me, and what is missing for a lot of people, especially since we live in like this society where it's like there's a lot of identity and a lot of roles that we play between our careers and motherhood and this and that. And I feel like for me, it was very hard over the last like 6 years to transition to something new. And last year is when I started that transition, and I started dipping my toes in like, I started coaching people one-on-one, and then I created my own product, my own branding course, which if you were on earlier, you saw a bunch of testimonies come in, and I've been continuing to do that. And like, now I'm like, okay, now I want to explore some other things that I can do. My husband and I have a wellness and fitness program and a nutrition program coming out, and that's really awesome too. But I just feel like there's something that I need to be doing to help other women to transcend into this next version of themselves. Because I don't know about you guys, but like for a lot of people, being laid off from a business and a job and a company that you had so much of your heart into would destroy them. And for me, I saw it as just a clear, like it was like free. I felt free. I was like, oh shit, like the handcuffs are gone. The golden handcuffs are gone. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I don't have to answer to anybody. I can create whatever I want. And I can talk, I can do anything. Like, it was so great. And it took a while for me to just like really settle into that. And so now it's been like 6-7 months, and I'm like, I want more people to feel that way. I want more people to understand that there is no limit and there is no rules to what you have to do or where you have to be. And you don't necessarily even have to stay in the same kind of career that you've always had. I mean, we see people all the time. Like, I got in touch with somebody the other day who was a scientist and quit being a scientist to become a flower farmer. Like, we see people do these shifts all the time. If you've seen the Martha Stewart, documentary, you saw like her create this career in her 40s, 50s, and 60s. Like, life doesn't end And if anything, what life is about continuing to grow and change and follow that inner knowing. And I feel like sometimes like that anxiety and depression and restlessness that we feel in this society is because we should be doing other things than what we're doing. We just don't, because we feel like we need the security, the money. But what you don't understand is like all that security and money and all those things and fulfillment can still come when you believe that you can do it and knowing what you should do next. So that's what this workshop is going to be all about. So the Rooted and Realigned series is a 3-part series for women. Men, you can join too, but I got to be honest, like I'm a girl's girl. I'm here really. I know women. I'm not a man. I know women, but I know men, but I know my man. So this is for women who are really ready to get real with themselves and release old expectations and build a life that aligns with their current values, not the values that you had when you first entered the workforce when you're in your 20s, or the values or the priorities that you had when your kids were little and now they're moved out, or the priorities or values or needs that you had when you were 18 and you were struggling and you were just trying to get out of a really scary environment, which was my story. Or like, we have to know that at some point something can run its course. And that's okay. And I wish somebody had told me that and that I was willing to listen a long time ago. So this is for anybody who just wants to just kind of explore it. Like maybe you don't need to burn all the boats, right? But maybe you just want to explore what else could be out there for you, but you don't know how to do that. So this is how it's going to work. It's a 3-part series that I'm doing in 3 different workshops. Okay. So part 1, the first workshop, and I already put a link here if you want to go read about it and check it out. You're like, I want to read about it. Like I'm into it. Like go check it out. If you're like me, you're like, just give me the information. It's linked here. It's pinned for you there. So the first workshop is going to be about creating, it's called Awakening into Your Authentic Self. It's going to be about creating awareness, about who you are and creating clarity. I feel like that's the biggest thing since coaching women for the last year and almost year and a half in, creating more of a life by design, that they lack the clarity. So I really want to help you with that. And then the second workshop is going to be, about rooting into the truth of who you really are, not who you think you should be or any of the roles that you play, but who you are when you strip away, motherhood, career, wife, daughter, all those things. Who are you at your core, right? And who are you at what's the version of you that needs to really plant some roots and really get rooted in who you really are so that you can grow and you can bloom, right? And then the third workshop is aligned action. So I'm all about getting into action. I'm not going to tell you to go quit your job, do this thing and jump off, and move across country. It's not going to be huge, so big that you can't handle it. It's going to be aligned action to help you to take steps in the next direction to start making moves towards creating that's a life by design. And what a life by design feels like is your perfect day every day. So have you ever imagined your perfect day? Maybe it's you wake up, you go to the beach, you have a picnic with your family, you all go out to eat and you come home and you you hang around, you clean your house, you work on something you love. And that would be, and that's your perfect day. That is a life by design. It doesn't have to be this grandiose vision board of mansions and traveling the world in 5-star jets. Really, a life by design is just owning your time and being able to create the life you want based off of the things that make you happiest. That's a personal thing. Nobody can do that for you. So this workshop is essentially for women who are maybe overstimulated, overwhelmed. Maybe you are just craving peace in your life, maybe slow living. Maybe you just want to make a shift in your lifestyle. Again, that's personal. Maybe you've outgrown old roles or identities, right? Like I had said, maybe you were, your mom for really long time and now your kids have moved out. Or maybe you just had kids like me. I have 3 under 7. And so I'm in that new mom phase of what life looks like right now as a new mom, right? So I'm in a different role right now and my career hat has taken a back seat, but my motherhood role has taken a front seat. So those values don't align anymore for me. So I had to realign, right? I had to realign and it took some time. And my goal here is to speed it up for you. I don't want it to take 5 years for you. I want to be able to take 3 workshops for you, right? So if you want to feel more grounded in your day-to-day life, not just productive and hustly. I know for me, like I was in like a hustle kind of like environment for a really long time, and it really worked for me before till I had kids. And what I didn't realize too is I was operating from a place of like, I need to be safe. I need to take care of myself. I need to do this. I need to do that. And I need to do this for other people. And it was like a give, pour, pour, pour. And I lost myself in that role, right? So motherhood has helped me to slow down and really reconnect with who I am, while also not losing it's like help me become more of who I am, not lose who I am, right? So I don't want to just be productive. I want to be grounded. I want to be really unhurried, right? That's like for me, right? So what's that for you? Do you want to be more grounded, more resilient, more unapologetically aligned with who you are and not seeking outward validation or approval from people when you go and do something that you want to do, right? Like you have your own back more than anything. It's going to help you to strengthen your boundaries. It's going to help you to identify where you're currently out of alignment. So maybe you don't even realize you're out of alignment, but you know something's not right. So maybe it's with your relationships, your work, your habits, your self-expression. It's going to help you to create a customized soul-led, like from the inside out, not logistically, but where you know in your heart that you should be, and create a plan that reflects your true values, not the values you think you should have. People should all over themselves all the time. And in my coaching, that's what comes up the most. Like you can ask yourself, if I wasn't doing what I think I should do, what would I really be doing? And also to help you to, of course, learn to navigate the fear and resistance that comes with all of these changes with grace and not guilt. So you'll leave with a plan in your hand if you do all 3 series, all 3 workshops. You can do the full series, but I'm also offering it in like one-offs for those of you who, want to just do one and see how you feel. That's also available to you. So I am officially opening enrollment today. It is going to be, this is the pre-sale price. It's for a limited time. I wanted to make it super accessible. And so you can either click the link here, or you can go to the link in my bio, and it's there for you too. I think on the replay, you might be able to comment the word align to be able to get the information, or DM me the word align. But if not, the link is in my bio. You can always click there. And I just want to say, like, before your mind takes over, I want you to listen to your heart first. And if you feel physically pulled and tugged towards the direction of doing this, I just want you to run with it. I think that's the first step in really listening to yourself before limiting beliefs or anything takes over your brain, is taking aligned action before all of the crap starts to flow in your head, right? That's it. I just wanted to just come on here and just give like an overview of what you can expect. But if you want all the information in depth, definitely go and read all about it. I put all the information on there, what you can expect from each workshop. You're also going to get workbooks to do in between each workshop. So there's 2 weeks in between each workshop. So you'll have 2 weeks to complete a workbook and journaling prompts to be able to help you to move to the next workshop, being super ready for it and ready to move to the next step. So I will be baby stepping you through the whole process, and I cannot wait to see you on. Alrighty. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you there. The first one is on May 31st. Bye.